Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to show you how to service your AC compressor pulley and your clutch hub pulley. So if your pulley is squeaking, making a lot of noise, or if your clutch is grinding, more often than not, you can replace these. They're a serviceable part. I've even seen on National Parts Depot, you can actually get some original Ford pieces still. There's actually a bearing inside here I'm going to show you. That piece is actually serviceable and oftentimes the source of the noise inside your compressor. In my case, I'm actually going to be sending this off to get it polished for my build. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to be actually using the Ford shop manual. So I'm doing it the quote-unquote Ford way. So I hope this helps you out, and let's get rolling. First thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the 1/2-inch hub retaining nut. It's not on very tight. Next step, we're going to remove the clutch hub pulley. I actually went to eBay and ordered the actual Ford tools for this kit. You could actually use a socket for this piece. I do recommend, I'll put the part numbers in the description, and as I go through this, I'll number them for you. These aren't very expensive, and compared to taking these to a shop to pull it off, put it back on, and do what you need to do, this is actually a cheaper option, and then of course you always have the tool. This first set that goes into the clutch hub, it's actually listed on the part. It's a T80L-19703-B. And again, just to be clear, I'm following directly from the Ford manuals. Because I'm going to be reusing the parts, I want to make sure I don't damage it. So this just screws into the hub. It's very simple. Use a 1-inch wrench. Now in this case, I don't even need to, this is a 1/2-inch bolt. I may have been able to pull this off. Actually just threading this with my fingers, it comes out very easy. I probably could have pulled this off, but for the purpose of this video and demonstrating the proper way, you want to watch out and make sure there's no spacer keys, and there's actually a key in here, so be careful when you pull this off. There are some spacers in here. You don't want them to go flying off on you. You see there's a little spacer. You want to make sure it looks like a washer, but you definitely want to keep this. You don't want to lose this because you need this for the proper spacing between the pulley and the clutch hub. Okay, so now taking a shot facing the front of the compressor pulley. You can see there's a little snap ring here. We're going to remove him. Okay, pair of snap ring pliers. Next step, we're going to remove the pulley. Now this pulley, in the past, it'll just pull right off. If it doesn't pull off, but this is the proper way you would do this, is you would put this guy on here. I'll give the part number for this is the T80L-19703-D-G as in golf. It's called the shaft protector, and that's literally what it does. So you can insert him here, and then you could just get a little 2-jaw puller and pull the pulley off this way. This is the formal way. You'll see it in the manual. But that's it. For some reason, you're completely bound up. Okay, so in my case, I'm going to just go ahead and pull him straight off. Easy peasy. And this is your bearing. And just something to say, I'm not going to replace my bearing. This thing is actually fairly new. I bought this whole set, this compressor, about 10 years ago. But he's actually in good shape. I maybe have 1,000 miles on the car. But this is that bearing. And I'll try and get some close-up shot here. You can see there's this little snap pieces in here. And you basically take and pull that out. I'm not going to go ahead and remove the bearing. This is a serviceable bearing. Okay, so now we are going to remove the coil. This coil is the piece that when power goes to this coil, it actually pulls in your clutch hub to engage and start turning your compressor. So this does have another snap ring right in the front. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and remove the coil snap ring. So guys, just want to show you something. If you noticed, the first time I used snap ring pliers, I had this pair. This is something you could possibly run into. And you notice these little wings here, these bolts. This is just something to be, this is one of those, like, save you a trip back to the store. So these aren't going to work. They won't fit. So if you look in here, you're not going to make that happen. So I just happen to have a couple different pair. So if you are going to do this kind of job, you probably want something like this. I forgot that I had these, so I had to go back to my toolbox. So this guy will fit right in here. Okay, we'll just slide him right out. I'm keeping my parts in order that I took them out. You can see these are different size. So the rear one towards the coil is a bigger diameter. And at this point, we should just be able to remove the coil, and we can. Now, the next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to snap my fingers, and you're going to go from this to a nice polished compressor. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and put the compressor pulley. As I've mentioned previously, little bearing in here. You saw how easy this popped in. Now I did paint this. You can see I got paint on my fingers. Okay, now with the pulley on, we got our outer snap ring, and now our external snap ring is in. Okay, critical part here. Make sure you don't forget any spacer washer that was in there when you removed the exterior. This is the part that when the coil is energized, it pulls together and engages into the pulley. So on this outer piece, sometimes they remain in there, but if they do fall out, make sure that you put the same number of spacers that were on there. Now, if you're buying a brand new one and you're not sure, they tell you to start with both of them, and then there's a measurement, there's an air gap measurement that I'm going to show you. Now, I did just spray a little bit of paint on here, so my fingers are dirty, and this thing's still a little bit wet. There's a keyway. Line up the keyway. It should just drop right into place. Easy peasy. And where we began originally, we're going to go back with our lock washer and our outer nut. So the last step is the pulley to coil retaining nut. You need to torque it. And I was quite surprised. The spec for this is 65 to 75 foot-pounds. Now, I have a spanner. It didn't really work. Now, when I took this apart, it was nowhere near. It wasn't that tight. So I didn't. My spanner that I have is actually for my cutoff tool. Doesn't work. They actually do sell the spanner for this, but what I use is I happen to have a oil filter wrench tool, basically an oversized channel lock, really, and then we went ahead and torqued it down. Truth be told, we didn't quite hit the full 65. I think we got it in the high 50s, but more than adequately tight. Doesn't meet the spec, but you know, if you want to be perfect about it, that is the spec per the manual. That's not very easy to find, by the way. Okay, with the retaining nut in place, the actual spec for this air gap, as you remember those two spacer washers that were in there. Now, I've literally just used exactly what came with the original pulley back in the day, but the spec is 21 to 36 thousandths of an inch. So we're good to go on the air gap. So if you want to check that, and then basically what you would have to do is play with the washers in between if your air gap is not in spec. Hey guys, July 4th. Great to be out in the garage today. I hope you like the shirt that Bryson's wearing. So we're messing around in the garage today, finally grinding on my car for once, instead of working on everybody else's car. I hope this video helps you out. I haven't seen too many videos out there with the AC compressor going into this level of detail, just following the manual. Anyways, check out the website, newradsolutions.com, if you want to order some t-shirts. Please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel. Hope this helps you out. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.